Welcome to Build Series. We're live in New York City. I'm Kevin Kenny, and our guest today is an artist, an executive, an entrepreneur, and has a hell of a new record out entitled Untrapped. Give it up for Yo Gotti.
Yo, what's up? What's poppin'?
We were just, if you're watching online, we were just vibing out to Pose.
Yeah, me
which
too.
is a crazy song here in the studio.
Yeah.
And it's one of those songs that sounds so good, but maybe isn't a collab that you would necessarily naturally think of, putting Meg with Uzi. Where'd the idea come from?
Originally, the record had me and Uzi on it. You know what I'm saying? Then we always said we heard Megan on it. But then later, after I released it, I ended up getting Megan to put a verse on it and then re-released it again with all three of us on it.
You've always had this incredible ear for a hit. You've said in past interviews that you're such a student of the game and you study your business, and whenever you need a hit, you can make a hit. How do you go about that process?
I mean, I'm a songwriter, so being a songwriter, you approach music a little different than just randomly making words together. Like, you really look at a song from the structure of it and the components. I guess nobody's like, psychic where you say like every song I make gonna be a hit. But they just mean like I know a lot of the components that it take for a song to be a hit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you kind of touch on something that a lot of artists talk about, where there's such a difference between being a really skilled MC, being a great rapper, and being able to write great songs.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's like being a battle freestyle artist too, which I think is like super dope, but it's a whole different component, making a chorus, a verse, a chorus, structuring it, if it's a bridge in the song, like just knowing how to structure music.
So how early on in your sort of pursuit in hip hop did you realize that you could write songs and not just rap? Or did that come before your?
Yeah, I think I had that gift before, because
Really?
I think in the very beginning when I first started writing records, because I really like artists like 8Ball and MJG, being from Memphis. So most of all my music was like a storyline.
Yeah.
So it was like watching a movie. Every song was like telling you a full story. I actually like dropped down from that. Like when I started putting out mixtapes, I stopped making the music so conceptual and stories and just made it kind of just general and fun. But I done it on purpose, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like people was catching on to that quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Jay says, right? Dumb down to double your dollars.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, I gotta ask you about this. You were talking to Charlemagne and them over at the Breakfast Club, and Jay-Z lives in a $100 million house, and he doesn't make people take off their shoes.
Nah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I ain't take off my shoes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You and Jay, of course, I think just have so much in common, and I was thinking about it more after watching that interview and just listening to this record. What do you two just connect the deepest on, do you think? What resonates the deepest between the two of you?
I just think we both hustlers, and we come from a place where people didn't think, we come from an environment where, most people are counted out in that environment. Like, they don't project you to become, I'm talking about on the level of Jay. It's like crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, being a billionaire, like, who projected somebody from the projects that were hustling on the corner would be a billionaire and be running all these businesses and different businesses with helping music artists like me, different sports deals, and just all type of things that he involved in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, I find a parallel between you two is you both were successful before you entered the music industry. And so, you had your funding already. How important is that looking back to maintaining credibility as an artist, maintaining integrity as an artist, sort of being good even before you get into rap?
I think integrity is integrity, and it's like, standing on what you believe and not selling out for anything that you don't want to do. I don't really like the word credibility, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that's like a false sense of security. I think people try to be credible of certain things when you shouldn't have to be. You are what you are, you know what I mean? You're not fooling nobody. If you grew up a certain way, you grew up a certain way. It's your life, you know what I'm saying? I think people take the hood mentality of trying to be credible in the street the wrong way.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's funny you mentioned, just that sort of your early songwriting and it being born out of these other songs that told stories, because this album seemingly tells a story. How early on, and there's a real theme, a throughway throughout the entire album, how early on in the process did that sort of present itself? Was that something you knew heading in?
Well, it started like that, then it stopped, and it went back to it. Because originally, all the records was like one big story. And then when I was listening to it, I'm like, yo, but when I go to the club, I'm not gonna be able to play none of your records. So then I started making records like Put a Date on It and Pose and records like that. And then I made too many of those records, and the whole album sounded like that. Then I went back to the story. So that what took a long time for me to put the album out too, because I was going back and forth with the type of music that I wanted to select for the album.
Yeah. The sequencing of it is amazing. It's an awesome listen. And then explain the story just a little bit. I want to make sure I have it right, where really the concept is becoming untrapped from your upbringing and then becoming maybe trapped again by new business opportunities or business ventures.
Hopefully never becoming trapped again.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully I'm untrapped and I stay untrapped. But if you look at the cover, right, what this display is like, this is a house in the hood. Maybe this is a $30,000, $40,000 house. Where I'm from. This house would be, or less. It'll be a $30,000, $40,000 house or less. But this a $400,000 car in front of the house. It's another $250,000 to $300,000 car. So you got probably $800,000 worth of cars at a $30,000 house. That's trap mentality for the hood. And that's what we do all the time coming up. We will buy chains, we will buy Rolexes, we'll buy all these things, but we'll still be in the projects. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, to me, that's backwards, but that's the way we taught. That's the way we raised. We raised in a trap mentality.
So you've always had this incredible vision, though. Where did that come from? That ability to have it seems like the right priorities.
I think it's a gift. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's a gift, and I paid attention. Like, I'm a student of the game. Like, all my OGs, my big brothers, everybody who was in the street before me, I paid attention to every single thing they done. You know what I'm saying? So some of the things I took from them that I thought was right, some of the things they taught me indirectly, not by not telling me to do it, but I just thought it was dumb as shit, what they was doing, you know what I'm saying? So they taught me indirectly. I'm like, yo, like, you didn't know you was going to jail for doing that? Like, it's crazy, you know what I'm saying? So I just was paying attention.
Yeah. Student of your surroundings, student of the game, you could say.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to congratulate you and join me in congratulating Yo Gotti on owning your masters now, man. This is huge. This is
Yeah.
It's rarer than people imagine.
Yeah, I'm super proud about that. It's one of my biggest accomplishments, I feel, so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I sleep
incredible.
better at night now.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
You were saying in a recent interview that it was just this opportunity that you knew you would regret knowing you had it and knowing you had the capital to buy them back.
Yeah, because it was a big decision to make, right? Because I had an opportunity to purchase it or sell it. So, and selling it is a big number, So, just asking different people their opinion. In the back of my head, I knew what I wanted to do, but I got a lot of different people around me, and I would just ask different people, like, yo, would you take this or would you buy it for that? And a lot of people, more than you would imagine, was like, take the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
man, I take that. And I was in my back of my head, like, is you crazy? You know what I'm saying? But I also just went and asked other people like Jay and other people opinions I value. I knew what I wanted to do, but I still wanted to just ask everybody their opinion.
Yeah. Is that typically how you move, in the sense of, like, you like to kind of get everyone's thoughts and then maybe make your own decision?
Exactly. That's how I learned most of everything I know. Like I take information from anybody, meaning, like, I at least take your opinion.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I take anybody who can give me their opinion on my music, on anything I'm doing. I'm going to listen to it. I'm still going to decide what I want to do.
Right.
But I don't not hear nobody.
You think that's why you're such a good songwriter? Because we talk to so many great songwriters on this show, and they talk a lot about just the ability to put themselves in other people's shoes, and like that, that gift of empathy.
Well, it's the gift of understanding other people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the deeper you can get into understanding another person, you can understand, like, what they may probably like.
Yeah.
They probably would like this. They probably would want to say this and recite this line if I say it this way in the club. You know what I'm saying? Like this, because when I write records, really like club records, we looking for that line that everybody waiting to say. Yeah. And most hit records, it's one line out of every song that everybody's waiting on, their favorite line. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always thinking, like, what is that line?
I want to talk to you about really the art of the release of an album, and it is an art, and there's probably some young aspiring artists that are watching this today trying to learn from you, Gotti. And I think back to a conversation I know you had with L.A. Reid about you were getting pressure to drop an album, and you knew that it wasn't the time. Can you talk about that process?
Yeah, I was speaking on once. The record labels was telling me to put the record out because they had set the date, and I didn't feel the temperature was right. So me being me, I just didn't turn it in. I knew it was gonna cause all type of issues, but I didn't care. I'm used to issues, you know what I'm saying? So I just didn't turn it in. But I was saying that L.A. Reid really supported me on the decision. When I told him about it, he was like, "Yo, if you don't feel it's hot, why should we be putting it out?" And I told him that I needed to go make a mixtape and probably just to test the waters and get the streets ready. It's kind of like practice for me.
Yeah.
Like I like to throw music out. I consider it practice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
he supported it. He like, go ahead. So I threw the music out, and actually Down in the DM was one of the songs that was on this mixtape. So I say if you didn't have that type of support that would believe in my vision to call the shot or to play on what I needed for me at the time, maybe we wouldn't have never got the Down in the DM record because my album was called Art of Hustle, and the message that I was telling in that album, I wouldn't have never made a song about Down in the DM because it didn't fit the title.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it didn't fit the strip. So by me just doing general music on a mixtape, I was just rapping about anything and everything.
Yeah.
So that's the story of that.
Is it harder as you become bigger, you become more successful to sort of be able to gauge that temperature?
I mean, I think you know. You know what I'm saying? I think artists, you should know. You know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe that's just me because I'm an executive too. Like, much as I love my own music, from a business standpoint, like I'm realistic. The shit hot is hot.
Right.
If it's not, it's not. Like I don't
Well,
care
you're
if it's
clearly
me or
tapped
whoever.
in. You know what I mean? I feel like it's
saying?
easy when you get big to not be so tapped in to what's really going on.
I mean, you can be just you can pay attention as much as possible. Like I said, you still gotta be realistic though. I mean, none of us perfect. Like we can make a bad song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or album that was not better than the last one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you just gotta be able to call it.
Yeah. Talk to me about what you're doing with esports. This is really cool. This is pioneering in a lot of ways, and you're getting involved with esports.
Oh yeah, I think esports is like the next big thing.
Huge.
And like you said, I'm involved with one of the teams, FaZe Clan, which I think is the flyest team, the best team, the latest team. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to FaZe Clan.
That's awesome, man. And then you're also doing incredibly important work with Team Rock.
Yeah, the Mississippi prison conditions that's in Mississippi is inhumane conditions. So we've been pushing forward on that, trying to get some change in this situation.
Yeah. As you've been doing this for so long now and you're still so successful, are things like giving back to the community and working with people like Team Rock, is that increasingly important for you?
I think nowadays I just think about impact more than anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like what can you contribute or can you do to impact, whether it's music, whether it's in the community, just period. Like what could you do? Like me personally, I'm not thinking money first, and I never really thought money first. I always thought like how to be successful and money come with it. So when I think of now, when I say I'm thinking of impact, I'm just thinking like, who we can help, whether it's on a small level or a big level.
Yeah. You, speaking of money, you were never necessarily independent, but you're unique in the sense that you would actually at times self-fund things that maybe the label would say no to or wouldn't have the budget for necessarily.
Yeah, I've been self-funded my whole career, you know what I'm saying? I don't never remember a time where I ain't been spending my own money.
Right.
And actually I was independent in the beginning. I was independent in the beginning, then I did a distribution deal.
Gotcha.
So a lot of these deals, they be with majors, but some of them just be distribution only. So it's still independent. You're still spending your own money.
Do you have any advice like for inspiring artists? Whether to sign entirely, whether, there's a 360, there's like you're talking about a partnership where it's just distro.
I think every situation is different per artist, per their situation. Like, I also don't, much as I tell an artist, to own your own stuff and make sure you get much as you can out of the situation, you also got to be realistic too, right? That like, if you don't have the resources, how you gonna get them?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you have to think about business. Like you can own 100% of nothing. What is that? So you may be running around talking about, I own everything, I got 100%, but what it's worth?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you got something that's worth $1 million that you got 100% of, that you can partner up with somebody and they can turn it to be worth $50 million and you own 50% of it. Do you want to be worth the 100% of the million or 50% of the 50 million, and you worth 25 million.
Yeah.
So I think every situation is different. Every deal is different. Every business is just different. So I can't really tell an artist like what type of way to do their business, not knowing their situation.
Yeah.
But just have your eyes open and make sure you're doing what makes sense for you.
Yeah. What is what's sort of, if you could, like, in, like, you know, casual terms for fans, like, what does owning your masters enable you to do versus, like, if, let's say, you didn't own your catalog?
For me, one thing is that it's personal, you know what I'm saying? Like me being, you know, what I want to be and what I want to mean to the game, given the opportunity, I couldn't pass on that.
Right.
You know, also it's an asset, you know what I'm saying? So if you understand inquiring business, different businesses is an asset that push off a lot of money. So, you know, I got a lot of records out. You know, so to own these records, there's a lot of revenue stream, a lot of residual income. So and it's just ownership. Ownership, just the word ownership is powerful in any sense.
Right.
You know, if somebody want to use my records for a movie, you have to now contact us to clear it. And if somebody sampled the music, we clear it. We call 100% shot on everything that happened with the music.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations again. It's
For sure.
huge
Appreciate
achievement.
Appreciate it.
Let's kick it to some of your fans here in New York. First question is going to come from over here. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Miata.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. My question is about like Yo Gotti, the storyteller. Who do you want to collaborate with to like continue telling your story next?
Left. I did a lot of records with a lot of people. Like collaboration with probably like Rihanna, Jay-Z. I ain't did my Jay verse yet. Who else out there? Rihanna, Jay. Justin Timberlake, because he from my state too. I think I probably work with everybody else. Yeah.
Done a lot, man.
Yeah.
It's funny, we had a Rhapsody on the show not too long ago, and she was talking kind of the same spot you're in, where she's waiting on that Jay song. You know, it's like a special.
You can't force that.
No, exactly.
Yeah, like you can't just force that.
Do you have like a concept in mind? Do you want like, would you want sort of like deep Jay? Would you want a turn up song with Jay? Do you have at least almost a theory or an idea for that song?
I just want it to be special. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the approach got to be like, I don't think you do records with people, with anybody that like, you try to create a record for them. I think you make an amazing record and then you bring them to your world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Let's get to one more fan question before we're done. Come
Hi,
over
Yo
here.
Gotti. How are you?
How you doing?
Good. In the wake of the Kobe Bryant tragedy, you look at him and you think his life reflected to live every day like it's your last. With that said, I wanted to ask you, what do you feel your contribution has been to music, and what kind of life legacy would you like your name to leave in music when you're done with music?
Well, I think I wanna show people that like, you know, you can do it despite having the what I want to call it, despite having the traditional way, because I'm untraditional success in music business. Like I didn't come out and have a big hit record. We talking this 15 years of grinding the long way. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have big radio hits in the beginning. I didn't have big features. I didn't have big budgets behind me. I didn't have a lot of the things that, you know, what you may think or how artists make it with. I get a demo, I run into a big executive from New York, and next thing you know, I'm the biggest thing in the world. No, I'm from Memphis. Like, we knew nobody that was in the music business. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything we was doing, we just trying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know if it's right or wrong. But throughout that, I think I survived the whole game. It's a whole new era, and I'm still in it. I'm still in it. I'm still winning in it, and I'm helping other artists be in it. So I just want to lead it like, no matter what the obstacle is against you, if you're a true hustler and you dedicated, you can figure it out and you can keep going and you can own your masters one day and you can still be pushing.
Awesome. Great questions, guys. All right. Gotti, we're unfortunately out of time, man, but thank you so much for taking the time to visit us here.
Untrapped.
Untrapped, out and available everywhere now. One more time for Yo Gotti, everybody.